I'm worse than a serial killer. Hello everyone, what's cracking? Welcome to Driver of Destiny. And it's true. I have Googled all kinds of things during the process of writing my novels, and these have ranged from finding out how to put a human skull in a bin bag and dump it in a cardboard box to how to kill someone with black magic. Now you have finished writing a darn good book. If you want to go down the traditional publishing route, finding a literary agent is the next logical step. And over the years, many authors have come to me seeking my advice, and many authors are rather desperate at that point for a yes from an agent. I feel your pain. 8 years ago, I was in that oblivion too. It's easy to get distracted or disoriented with all the noise out there about how authors can go about nailing a literary agent, what to do, what not to do, how to query, how not to query, and what have you. So I thought I would make a video for you guys listing out 5 worst possible bits of advice that authors have been getting on inking that deal with the literary agent of their dreams, me included. Worst tip number 1. The myth of the traffic signal. So many of us have been told that a perfect query letter leads to a big fat yes from a literary agent, and that a perfect query letter is really not more than the length of a phone screen, which does not involve the recipient of your email having to scroll down to read further. Better luck if the literary agent has a smaller phone screen. But this is what many of us have been told at writers' conferences and many groups. So imagine that you are stepping out from work for a lunch break and you are at a busy intersection waiting to cross a road, and you're hungry and tired and irritated and bored. Now imagine that this is not you, but your dream literary agent there. And if they get a notification on their phone, and if that notification happens to be your query letter sitting on top of their email inbox, and they're curious enough, or they might go through your query letter. 15 to 20 seconds is all you get on average to cross a road in New York. That's literally all the time you have. If you don't hook your dream literary agent with your query letter in that span of 20 seconds, then it's a goner. Right? Wrong. Now. There have been countless cases of 2-page query letters that have had literary agents come back requesting for partials or full manuscripts, which then go on to fall into a black hole. The agent might come back and say they ain't in love with ya. The query letter phenomenon is overrated. If you'd like to know how I managed to get represented by at least 2 top literary agents for 2 separate book projects, I will explain it in one of my next videos. So please do subscribe, it's right there. But what I will say right now is this: pay more attention to your manuscript, guys, because a breakout novel essentially rests on the strength of its characters and its plot purpose. Worst tip number 2.
No rhetorical question in your pitch note.
Another bad piece of advice I've heard is that authors should not include any sentence that exists in the form of a question as part of their pitch note. For instance, will Kaylin be able to save herself before it's too late? That sentence is supposedly a no, and a better way of conveying that message is believed to be something along the lines of: Kaylin must find a way to save herself before it's too late. You know what? That's not true. Because whether you're deciding to have a question as part of your pitch note or not, what really matters is your ability to consider whether said question works in the context of your novel and also on the flow of the narrative in your query letter. Think about the backside blurbs of novels you sift through on Amazon or pick up at a bookstore. Your pitch note is like that. Worst tip number 3. The numbers game holds true.
A one, a two, a three, a four, a five.
Many authors have been fed the idea that they need to query at least 100 literary agents, if not more, before they can stand a chance of any interaction that culminates into an offer of representation. Believing that you need to query hundreds of literary agents or wait for years before you land one is not healthy. Why? Because it can create psychological blocks that will hold you back. Psychological blocks are driven by a scarcity mindset, a subconscious focus on lack and wanting. And this mindset may attract situations that reinforce your belief in that lack or your focus on that lack. Querying hundreds of literary agents does not necessarily result in an offer of representation. I queried about 10 to 11 literary agents before an offer of representation came along for my previous novel, Victims for Sale, and my relationship with that agent had been a rewarding one, which culminated into a publishing contract with HarperCollins. I'm happy to talk about that more if you guys want me to in my next videos. But the point is, whether you're querying 4 literary agents or 400, it does not matter. Everyone's journey is different. Worst tip number 4. Authors must state their genre and word count while querying. Guys, not every novel falls into one specific genre or subgenre. For instance, Kazuo Ishiguro's book, Never Let Me Go, and I love it. So this book has been pegged as literary fiction sometimes, and other times it has been categorized as a dystopian love story. It has also been described as sci-fi and magical realism. When I first queried for my previous novel, Victims for Sale, I did not pitch it as the crime and suspense thriller that it is today. It evolved into one. So what really matters, guys, is how well the story is told, how high the stakes are for your primary characters, and what genre would do that story the most justice in the way you choose to tell it. And then we have the word count reference in the query letter, okay? Now guys, look at this. This is another of my favorite reads, Ta-Nehisi Coates, The Water Dancer. Now you can see how big this book is. It's his debut novel, okay? It's a lot bigger than 70 or 80,000 words. It's quite fat. Preeti Thalijaw's debut novel, We That Are Young. It's a modern day retelling of Shakespeare's King Lear. It went to press at more than 130,000 words. So guys, whether your manuscript is 120,000 words or 70,000 words at the outset, what matters is how tight the story is, how tight the plot is. So I would focus on that rather than on whittling down your manuscript to 80,000 words before you start querying. Worst tip number 5. A third-party editing service will boost your chances of representation. No, they don't. Unless you're a truly terrible writer or extremely bad with the English language, the only thing that can come out of ponying up to a third-party service for editing your manuscript is a gaping hole in your wallet. Because a lot of these agencies charge a bomb, and one such agency, as we found as part of a social experiment, was charging $750 for every 25,000 words of a manuscript. If you approach an agency, and I'm not talking about literary agencies that don't charge reading fees, I'm referring to third-party manuscript editing services, and many initial drafts are usually longish in terms of word count. If you approach an outpost like that with an initial draft of your novel, say a 130,000 word manuscript, it can cost you upwards of $4,000. Third-party editing services do not have referrals or agency contacts or yearbooks or other forms of assistance that can match authors with agents. These manuscript editing services will not know what inspired your narrative. They don't know the feelings that went into it. So don't fall for this trap if you truly believe in your work. Don't do it. Beta readers are happy to read your manuscript and provide some valuable feedback or at least offer their 2 cents that can also help you build your audience as a writer, guys, and this can up your chances with an agent or publisher. If you guys would like me to share more details and specifics of how I landed HarperCollins or how I found my previous literary agent, how I found my current literary agent for upcoming book project, whatever it is, please share your thoughts and comments in the comment section below, and please also voice your opinions on what you liked about this video, what you didn't like, what you found helpful, what you didn't find helpful. And if you have specific questions and you'd like to get in touch with me, you can DM me on Instagram at Driver of Destiny, and you can also contact me through my website. Links in the description below, and always remember, together we can rise. So I hope you guys found this video helpful. If you did, please give it a big thumbs up and click on the notifications bell. Click, 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 so that you can get notified every time I post new content on here. Please do subscribe and share this video with others from the writing community. Check out Not a Love Story, a book teaser for my upcoming novel, as well as Seesaw, which is a book song, aka a musical representation of the same novel. I'll see you all very soon. Ciao!